Good morning. I'd like to call the regular council meeting for the city of Freeport to order, February 13th, 2024. Please stand for invocation and pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for bringing us all here together, Father. Please guide us and direct us to make the best decisions for our citizens. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We understand that there are a number of people here who may wish to address the council. In order for the meeting to proceed in an orderly manner, be advised that public comments on any issue before the council will be accepted after the city council has concluded their initial discussion and received input from staff. When we ask for public comment, please raise your hand. You will be recognized to approach the podium. At that time, you will need to state your name for the record, spell your last name. We ask that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes. After public comment has concluded, the council will readdress the issue at hand prior to action being taken. We also ask that you please silence your phones and please refrain from talking during the meeting. First, we have the consent agenda under tab 1 of the bills for the city of Freeport. Tab 2 is the regular council meeting minutes for October the 26th, 2023. Tab 3 of the regular council meeting minutes for November 14th, 2023. And tab 4 is the regular council meeting minutes for December the 12th, 2023. And tab 5 is the water and wastewater capacity fees, BAID visa. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? If not, I'll ask the council for approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brannan.
Aye.
Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Any additions or deletions to today's agenda?
Mayor, I would like to add legislative appropriations and advocacy work in Tallahassee.
Any others?
I want to add something about the MPO, TPO.
Any others? Park, are you going to add about the lights?
Oh, yes, the LED lights and wall light.
Yeah. And then billing?
Yeah, the update of the sewer letter that's going out in bills this month.
Okay. Any others? Ask for approval for the additions to today's agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day.
Aye.
Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brannan.
Aye.
Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Staff report, sewer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First thing I wanted to bring before you was some training at Love's Park, Illinois. It's got to do with a company called Dan Foss. Dan Foss, what they do is they build a drive that makes the motor pump at these lift stations. As it is right now, they ain't none of us trained enough to know what to do with it. If one of them goes bad or needs some work done on it, and we've got about a 12-week wait time. A minimum of that to try to get somebody in. Well, we can't afford to wait and let our lift stations have trouble for 12 weeks. So I'm asking you for approval to, it's $1,007 a person to go up to Loves Park, Illinois, so we can get training at this Danfoss school up here where all of it's built.
And you have money in the budget to pay for it, Paul?
I believe we do, yes. ma'am.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the training.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the training. Is there any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Haskell.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Farris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brannon.
Aye.
Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Well, next,
Can you do the wastewater treatment plant progress update next? And I'll just preface that with, this was supposed to be so that we could tell y'all that the DEP letter was going out for substantial completion, but it's not because
right now, our NTU meter's having trouble. Did talk to Steve today with Southern Flow. The anticipation is
Yeah, it was
working
number 4,
great,
that's number 1.
it's working right. Because without that NTU meter, DEP ain't gonna ever let us back into reuse if it ain't working the way that it's supposed to work. So that's what we're waiting on right now. I mean, the plant's ready, everything's ready. He's got that one little piece of electronic equipment that has to be operable 24/7. Because right now, when the flow drops below 400 gallons a minute, it shuts off. The DEP ain't never gonna be all right with that, because this stuff has to be monitored 24/7. So until that is, we're out of reuse. I hope that Steve with Southern Flow gets this straightened out today. He's on site right now, working at it. So maybe,
Do you think in the next couple of days, y'all will know if it's going to be fixed or not?
I'll know today.
Today?
Yeah,
Will you let us know? Will y'all let us know if it gets
Absolutely.
fixed? Okay, thank you.
So just so the council knows, once that substantial completion letter goes to DEP, the next domino will be Alex will submit to permit the line and force main going down 331 north from Mousehead going south. We have to prove we have the capacity by the substantial completion, then they will consider that, and those dominoes are set and ready to fall. So it's just a matter of one's got to happen first, and the next one.
Okay.
Did I get that right, Alex?
For the update.
I'm going to pass around a brochure on this truck that he's fixing to talk about. And the details are under tab 7, but that's more in the...
Yeah, I'm asking you to let us get the money out of reserve
Okay.
to purchase this pump truck. I do believe it was budgeted for the prior fiscal year.
Okay.
We wasn't able to buy the truck. We have one now. And Brett, sitting back here in the back, can explain anything y'all might need to know about it.
Okay.
So that's where we are with that. And we got money in the reserve, Sarah?
Okay.
So we would need a money to approve whichever quote is being requested by Paul and to bring the monies forward from reserves.
So you want to purchase the end light in? No? Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the truck. I'm sorry. What's the name of the company from the truck? I'm sorry.
Ingram Equipment.
I was in the wrong tab. No, you're fine.
Paul, if you would put the name of the company and the total amount for the council, if you'll read that in, they can make that motion.
I don't have it's Ingram Equipment or this.
Well, we can't buy it today.
$520,113
There you go.
what's in here.
Where? What tab? 6.
Tab 6.
Okay, my tab,
That's
okay.
what we're awarded.
Sorry.
That says
Well, I
Orlando
thought
Freight
this was
Line.
tab 6. I was looking behind it, I'm
It
sorry.
went through the.
I see it.
So
Ryan,
the
tell me if
motion would be
it's Source Well or
to
Sheriff.
award,
That's Floyd Sheriff's Office.
the motion will be to award the, bid, to award the bid and purchase, moving $520,113 forward from reserves to Orlando Freight Liner
Right.
via the Florida Sheriff's Association.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to purchase the truck. Is there any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Parrish.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman Dickens.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And last but not least, I don't know what tab it is on
It's 7.
the in-light in.
Yes.
What this is about is getting all of our lift stations on one SCADA system. Not only will it'll be great to look at it on one screen, it'll also be great from the standpoint that we can look, we get daily reports, we get hourly reports
Let's
from
go.
this, and it will stop a lot of boots on the ground.
So is this if like the light is flashing red, you'll be notified through the system that something's
Absolutely.
wrong? Got it. That's good.
Be notified before the high level light.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what this is about. And it puts it, some of these bigger lift stations we won't have control remotely.
Right. That's good. I like that.
The in-light in guy, Jason Bell's here to show y'all what it does. We've got a demo right now going at Marina Village lift station. So we can show it to you. You want to come up here and show what you got with this in-light, this VT SCADA?
This proposal is for all the lift stations that we have in the city.
Okay.
Oh, you have to log back in again, it kicked you out.
What does it take when we get additional lifts to add them into this?
The exact same, whenever we broke out the proposal, we broke out a la carte style, so that there are 4 possibilities. You have duplex, 2 motor lift stations, triplex, which are 3 motor lift stations. Then you can choose to monitor only or fully control them. So there's 4 flavors. So to add one, you would just pick which one you want, and the pricing would not change. I think the proposal is I'll be able to pull that up right away. From your operator's phones or computer, it works the same as logging into your bank account. It's HTTPS military grade security. This current demo unit is out at Lift Station Marina Village. It looks quite different on the screen. It gives you your data quality. You're riding on Verizon and AT&T FirstNet. Dual redundant backups. There's a check-in button out there on the side of each of them, because one thing we've learned is, and we've been asked for by a lot of clients, is you can sign a sheet and fake and sign, but you can't fake pushing a button. So it will show you and log, data log, everything. The last time it was checked, 2/10/24, 10/25 AM and it's been 69 hours ago. Operators can come in here and add notes that cannot be deleted. For instance, if they change a pump, I'm just going to put test right now. If they were to change a pump or something, it would keep a complete history of everything that's ever done at the lift station. It's monitoring the health of both pumps, the power, it's monitoring the level, including the high flow and the level transducer. That you see the level rising. This is real-time data. This is the actual footage out there, and you come in here and you set, okay, alarm me at 7 foot, or if it goes too low to 1 foot, alarm me. It sends alarms out right away. It can alarm via text message, email, phone calls, you name it. We run about 40 municipalities throughout the southeast that use our system, and we're focused on water, wastewater, gas, electric, and municipalities. One of the coolest things and most helpful things is a lot of places will have someone dedicated to check lift stations, or 2 in Europe or more, because they have so many. That all they do all day long is go out and check lift stations. Instead, you can have this system. It generates a report, an Excel report every morning. It just adds a line every day and never stops. You see the information right here. pump 1 and pump 2. Yesterday it ran today 8.3 minutes today with 4 cycles, 39 minutes yesterday with 18 cycles. Pump 2, 11 today with 5 cycles. And look at yesterday between pump 1 and 2, 40 minutes versus 39 minutes, 18 cycles. So an operator instantly can see the pumps are lead lagging the way they're supposed to. You can look at the graph also and see what's going on instantly by looking at this. The level gets high, pump 2 comes on and pumps it down quickly. It slowly starts to rise. Then pump 1 comes on, pumps it down quickly, and it starts to rise. So you see lead lag. An operator will know what this means instantly. They see lead lag, which is very important, working on their system. We also calculate your pump efficiency. There's an area in here in the control section. I won't go through all of it right now because there's so much info you can put in for each lift station, but one of the things is the area of the wet well. Since you know the area of the wet well and you have a level transducer on it, you calculate exactly how much flow is going through that lift station. That's extremely important whenever you have anything like an engineering firm that wants to know. You can grid out the entire topology of your sewer system and know just how much flow is going through each lift station. And during a rain event, you get the same thing. You get that same data so that you can identify I and I infiltration and inflow and such extremely quickly. And this is literally your full-featured SCADA system. The part of the proposal, whenever I pass it back and I can answer the question as far as what would it cost for additional units, I'll go over the quote real quick with y'all. At the very bottom, it's also integrating the wastewater treatment plant. That way, that is included in the proposal. That way you have a single pane of glass. If you ever decide to do gas, water, or other utilities, it would allow you a single pane of glass. User management is very granular so that you can choose, this person can see it, this person can control just the water but not the wastewater, this person can, so control is very granular. And again, security is military grade security. You see, you notice that the link up here is HTTPS. It's 56-bit encryption. And they see the same thing on their phones, get alarms in real time, can respond in real time, create rosters however they want. And just to show you just really one last thing, like if I wanted to graph the feet, I'm just going to click on feet right here. If I wanted to graph on this motor amps, I'll just click this amps right here. It's going to throw it both onto a graph together. Let me split that graph so it's easier to see. The reason I'm showing you this is just more for getting your data. This can be automated, but I can pull up the data in an Excel type look and I can say, over the past day, give me the averages every 30 minutes. Then I can hit this little save button and next through it a couple of times and it's going to dump it into an Excel file for me. That quick. And there I have my timestamps and my values for each of those 2 tags I chose at that 30-minute interval. So extremely intuitive for the operators. And one of the couple of other things, we're completely non-proprietary. A lot of people, whenever they come to you with something like this, they're going to bring you something and sell you something that you better love them because you just married them, because no one else can program their stuff. It's proprietary. Our stuff is Allen Bradley in the field. There's three parts of SCADA. There's the equipment in the field, there's the communication, and then there's the actual HMI that you see. Equipment in the field is Allen Bradley. Anyone can program it. You can go buy it off the shelf. We don't lock you in. Communications, if you get tired of us, any integrator can come behind us, or you can get your own SIM cards, throw in there, and take it over yourself. The HMI is VT SCADA. You have over 30 licensed VT SCADA integrators within driving distance. So, like I said, non-proprietary in any way. You can kick this to the curb anytime you want to.
And Jason, you had told me in a prior conversation you were going to throw in to the part of this proposal cameras on the lift stations as well. Is that correct?
That is exactly correct. I am also, I told you I really want to earn your business, and we do have a stock of them left over. So it will also include a free on-site recording camera at each lift station.
And
Make it
And
fair.
I will show you the pricing to answer that question, if that's okay.
Jason has also supplied Paul a list of different, I don't know, there's probably 10
Every bit of it.
different locations, counties, cities, where he has done business with. Paul checked them out, correct, Paul?
I hadn't heard nothing bad.
And there are nothing but
Blowing.
My question was about the pricing, the 275, 825, is that a one-time lump? Or what, how is the structure work? Do you have a
Absolutely.
monthly fee, is it just the one time? That was my question.
Absolutely. Is there any way I can?
Click on the PDF at the bottom, and it should come up. There you go.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so what I wanted to show, here, and I'm sorry this is a little bit congested.
That's
I
okay.
wanted to show the complete breakdown of what we actually sell them for and what I wanted to do for Freeport. The units for duplex monitor only are $4,500 a piece, and with a $500 installation and $500 setup. We are discounting $1,500 off of each unit, and will forever do that. So you can use this as a pricing model to forever, you know, we'll lock in this pricing for as long as you want us to lock it in. We're also just discounting the installation. So essentially, if you wanted to look at the cost of the unit, it's $5,500, and we're discounting $2,000.
Okay.
So 35 will be we'll lock in for 2 years or whatever you want us to put your to verbalize in there. We will lock it in so that you know over the next 1, 2, 3 years, whatever you want, the pricing, because materials do go up in price. But we would do that. Now for the 3 that they want that's full control, those are triplexes, a lot bigger station. We did the same thing. We showed the full price, and there's only 3 of those. And then we showed the discounts. Then we showed a $25,000 hosting discount, and I'm going to explain what this $25,000 hosting discount means. And then we get into a little bit of wastewater stuff. So to answer your question about the upfront fee, it is a one-time upfront cost. However, there is $40 a month for AT&T, Verizon, dual redundant cellular connection, and VT SCADA HMI hosting is $40 a month per site. We have had people that were on radio that had a little bit of a hard time biting that off, like we just now finished Definiac, and all their little stations, they were all on radio, but we showed them. We've been with Definiac since 2018, and we showed them since 2018. We have done 6 lightning reports for y'all. Y'all have spent over $46,000 in repairs because of lightning. What's lightning going to hit? It's going to hit the radio, the tallest metal object. And with cellular, it doesn't attract lightning. In fact, you can we turn that into actually a ground rod by grounding it, right? And they haven't had any issues with lightning since. The monthly fee can be a monthly thing, an annual thing. It doesn't matter to us if you want to do it by the month or by the year. It is $40 a site, but it is the most, if you look at it, it is the most price-friendly way to get this done. And most reliable, because radio, the way radio talks, it talks to, you can think you have 80 little stations, it talks to A, what's your info, it talks to B, what's your info. By the time it does the round robin all the way around, your data can be 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes old. It can even skip and be 2, 3 hours old. This is real-time data that you saw changing, like in real time up there. This line item is us saying, me still really trying to earn your business, doing everything we can, is that we will knock off the first $25,000 of fees for hosting. And then we get into the wastewater part. But does that explain the pricing of,
Well, I'm still not understanding, I'm sorry, the 275, 825, that's a one-time to do it all, and then what, is there a monthly or an annual? That's where I'm trying to understand.
there's a
Sorry.
monthly fee of $40
I saw
a
the
site.
40, is there something else other, so this is, we would pay this up front, And then the $40 a month per site. And as somebody with a lift station in my yard, like it's in my yard, I watch the line, I call it in, so I can appreciate the technology. I'm all
Where I come from, we call
technology.
those red lights target practice.
right.
So we put it on stated and we disconnect them.
Yeah, as soon as it blinks, I'm calling the number, you know. I just wanted to double check what we were gonna be getting into with fees. So it's $40 a year, no, a month per site.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it,
And
okay.
that's for the communication.
That's for that
It's for
communication.
communications
I
and hosting,
understand.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, I'm good.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilwoman Brandon?
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's a great system.
Yeah.
I like what I've heard. My question's more so for internal operations. When are we wanting to do this? It wasn't in this budget year. Is it something that we're looking at putting into our next budget year? And one other question I had is, I know we have, according to our city manager, we have 2 full-time employees that are going every single day to check these lift stations. So we're basically going to have something doing their job for them. So what are we going to do with those other employees? Do we want to wait and do this in the new coming budget cycle and figure out what we're going to move those other employees to do, since this is basically, you know, automatic, you know, it's automation of their job?
Right.
So what,
Well,
you know, that's something between, I guess,
How many employees do you need this afternoon? New employees?
Any what?
How many more employees do you need today?
We're 3 down right
So
now.
then would you move these two to
I would.
those, you'd be able to move them around where you're not having access or something?
Absolutely.
That was Ms. Brandon.
that was
Councilwoman
what
Brandon's
my question was, because I know that we've had 2 dedicated just to this. So whenever we put this in place, I wanted to make sure
Right.
we knew, you know.
Did you have money budgeted for, do you have money for this? Where was this going to come from?
Okay. We've had the discussion, no, this was not placed in the budget. However, we have been collecting capacity fees. And yes, capacity fees with council approval can be spent on this. I think the attorney will agree with that.
I concur.
And that would be my recommendation. And yes, I would want a specific motion from the council granting me that authority to use the
How much do we have in capacity fees right now?
11 million.
11 million? Okay, so this is a very small percentage of that, okay.
And I hear we need
I
a
was
new
just
sewer
double-checking.
plant, so I want to, you know, put that in there. While we do have, yes, a lot of money, we still have,
Right.
you know, another
Plant
plant
to
to
be
go
built,
as
right,
well.
I
I do know
understand.
that.
Councilman Ferris?
I do like the idea, and
Yeah.
I like the idea of being able to move forward and us
Yeah.
getting in the future. And this will help y'all. And I will make that motion to move the capacity fees to cover this for you.
For $275,825?
Yes.
I'll
Thank you.
second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to clarify one thing. We started adding extra sewer lift stations. It's going to cost us how much?
For the lift stations now,
No,
He's
extra.
adding new ones.
We're
We're adding new
So-
ones.
almost always your new ones are going to be duplex monitor only. Very unlikely that it won't be. $3,500.
Okay.
Okay.
Plus an additional $40.
$40
Right.
to
Yes,
monitor.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Any other discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hackman?
Aye.
Councilman Day? Councilman Ferris?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brandon? Councilman Dickey?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Park?
Good morning, Council Mayor.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just want to give you an update about the lights, the LED lights over at the sports complex. Softball fields 1, 2, and 3, they're completed, and they're impressive.
Good.
Nice, they're bright, so looking for the next phase
Good.
for the
That's
next
good.
2 fields.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Red.
Thank you.
City manager?
Yes, council, I have one item. It's the work from home policy, which I've sent out to y'all in email prior to the meeting. Currently, we have 2 employees that are technically working from home in some capacity or another. I was asked to create a policy. I got with HR. It's in the brochure. You've had it. Asking for approval.
Councilwoman Haslett.
Thank you, Mayor. This looks good. It looks good to me. I read it over. I do think this is great for employees that qualify for that to help, with our employee retention. A lot of companies post-COVID do a hybrid schedule. So I think as long as it works for the employee and the city, that I think it's a great policy and I'm all for it. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the work from home policy. Any further discussion? Councilwoman Brannon.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have a list of specifically which jobs would be eligible and would not be eligible from the work from home program? Is it what?
I didn't put any specific positions because I didn't want to limit it. It's going to be.
It's exempt full-time, right?
Yeah, it's FTEs that qualify for exempt status only.
Okay.
Can do that. And it's really hybrid. Nobody's fully remote. This is what you call hybrid. A few days in office, a few days at home. So there's nobody fully remote. And I don't think that's the intention. It's a hybrid, or he said, the temporary. But a hybrid is a split, what Sarah's been working, that split schedule.
And that's why I didn't want to put position, because it may be that somebody can do it for a week or a month or whatever time it is. So.
Something comes up.
Mayor?
Any further discussion? Public comment?
Mayor, I had a question.
Kathy?
The policy says that it's to save office space, and I was curious how that would work, because we do have limited space. So would they be sharing a workstation, or how? What about the people that are, if they're at home working, is their space being used by someone else?
Well, if you had two people in the same department, they could use the same desk and flop. So if somebody was home, they could do a rotation in the same space. So when that person was home, the other person could be at the desk, I assume, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And understand that's just in the introduction section of this. That's a generalized policy statement rather than a directive of the policy itself.
Right.
Okay.
It's not
thank
saying
you.
you have to reduce office space, but it's saying those are the intended goals.
Right.
When adopting these type of policies, it is indicated that you do provide some statement of policy defining the goals that you're hoping to address, so that should reasons be granted or denied in discretionary fashion as we have structured this, that those determinations are ones left to management rather than being a guaranteed matter of right. So it's the difference between saying this position shall be a remote-only employee, or this position shall be entitled to work from home. It's saying we recognize that we will have needs on both a case-by-case basis, and that we will address it in individual situations to accomplish the goals of attracting, retaining talent, reducing office space. So you have a variety of methods. That is one thing you would put in there so that you could allow flex scheduling as we expand in our overall employee base.
Well, and as our existing, I guess it's a new IT setup, anybody can sit down at any computer and log in with their city login. So it's not, one person, one computer.
Right.
Any other discussion, any comments? Councilwoman Hafter.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Fair.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brannon.
Aye.
Councilman Dickens.
Aye.
Motion carried. Billing.
Good morning, Council. Mine will be really brief. This is just an updated version of the sewer letter that went out 2 years ago, in keeping with sewer and helping flow, I guess. We have updated this to include fats and grease and stuff that are coming up as needed. So it's been sent through legal, it was approved through legal to go out into the building this cycle. And we just wanted to bring your attention to it. It'll go to our e-bill customers, it'll be posted online, on Facebook, and out in the lot.
Good.
So do we need a motion to approve the
I
letter?
would ask the council officially approve the letter. It is not obviously something that is a binding policy of that, but it is something that is being sent out on official city notice. That's why it went through approval in my office. And I would also say that the council may remember some time ago, it's probably been 8 years ago, we actually went through the process of evaluating the effect of flushable wipes and other non-biodegradable items within our system. While ultimately we did not pursue any claims related to that, as we did not have any direct damage, it was something that is a cumulative effect over the years. So adopting this as a notice is important, and I think it's important we have it on our record, should we ever start to suffer harm or damage as our system grows, to show we attempted to notice this away.
No, it looks good. I'll make a motion to approve the letter.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Councilman Thacker.
Aye.
Councilman Day.
Aye.
Councilman Fair.
Aye.
Councilman Brennan. Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
Lanny.
Good morning, Mayor, Council.
Good
So good to
morning.
see you all this beautiful day. The first item I have are the bid results for the community center. This is under tab 9 in your book. We received one bid for the site work and construction of the community center from 8 contractors. The base bid amount was $2,956,733. We broke that out into approximately $1 million on site work, which includes all the pavement, all the stormwater, all the sidewalks, all the landscaping, anything that's done to the actual property. It's about $1 million in coverage, and the building was shown to be at 1.9. And you have that bid here in your package, and I believe that Sarah had some information about what we budgeted for this and what actual money we have in reserve that may be applied toward this. Sarah, if you want to speak.
I think you all know that it's 1.4 million that we have in the budget for this
Was that for the
project.
building, or was that supposed to be for the building and the site work?
Total deal.
So how did we get so far off? Like, we're millions off.
Well-
That's a huge concern. How did we get here?
In the past for 2.5. Then we had
We're about $1 million and a
I mean-
half over, and that's just because of cost.
But not really. If this 3 million is just for, is this the building to build and everything?
The whole thing.
The whole
The whole
thing.
thing out the door. So we have 1.4 million budgeted and this is 2.9, so we're 50% off. How did we get 50% off?
Oh, Alex, you
I mean, I'm
wanna
just
cover the
struggling.
cost?
If we went out for bid, how is the bid 50% wrong? Sorry, I'm just
You bear-
kind of,
you bear the
that's
cost.
a big discrepancy.
So I think probably when it had been originally budgeted, I think there was maybe some confusion, but the 1.4 should have probably been just for the building. And so the 2.5 in our estimate, that was for the building and site work. So 2.5 I think is reasonable, so the 2.9 versus the 2.5.
That's
that-
much different.
Yeah, so.
But you never brought us a 2.5 number that I remember. We were never brought that.
Yes, ma'am.
So then why did we budget for 1.4? I mean, I remember us doing this years
The
ago.
1.4 was a while ago. Recently, we
It
brought
was.
back the 2.5.
Yeah.
Right, and that's right, I do remember us being way off, but now we're up to 2.9.
And
Yes.
we have a legislative
Right.
ask
We
out
did.
for 1.5, which we are not going to get.
Right,
So, at least in this round, they
Right.
have state only awarded 4 quote-unquote community center type grants, and those went to different places in Central Florida.
right.
So,
And I'll just add too, so, I mean, y'all know H&T Contractors, they're local.
Right.
They do
They
a
are,
really
they're
good
great.
job with
They
commercial
do.
buildings. We reached out to pretty much every known contractor we could even think of. And so we only got one bid. I think when we had the pre-bid meeting, we did have a couple come in, but so it was really tough even just getting that one bid. And I know that the quality of what was spec'd in the design and for the building was top notch. Just to give an example, just the electrical portion for their sub was about $400,000. So you do have a lot of good quality equipment in that building.
I'm fine with that, but why were we brought 1.4 if we really weren't sure that's what it was gonna be? That's where I'm struggling, because we're not a couple $100,000 off, we're $1.5 million off, and that's a large amount, and I'm concerned to take all that out of our reserves. We save the reserves for emergency situations, I feel.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned, and I know we've promised the public to build a community center, but we are way off the numbers, so I'm just very concerned of how we got to that to be so far off.
And I think the 1.4 was just $1 per square foot for the building, is where that came from.
So there was no site work done in that estimate?
No.
So we failed.
So the bid that we've got presented, approximately 1.9, or basically $2 million,
Right.
is the building itself. We budgeted 1.4.
Right. We
So,
just budgeted.
Still $500,000 off, but that's pretty much where we are.
Right.
And when this started, Charlie was the city manager.
I remember.
So this has been going on for a while.
I remember.
Just like with the pickleball courts. I
Right.
don't know what the pickleball court numbers are, but that's essentially what we had budgeted to what we got. We didn't even get a bid, can't find a bid. And I think the one.
We're still researching and trying to find companies that are
Right.
willing to do it.
Right.
The prices just keep going up.
So, but we're not $1.5 million off of this.
Sarah.
And well, also, and while I do understand Councilwoman Hafner's absolutely, positively, 1.9 to 1.4, that is a huge difference. However, this city has been experiencing massive growth. And through massive growth, it's been really good. It's easy to budget during growth. It's hard to get all the infrastructure in there that we need, but you just eat that elephant one bite at a time. So I'm saying that the reserves are there. We, tried for that 1.5.
Right, I remember.
And when you're, everybody knows Freeport's growing. Everybody. And I do believe, it was discussed at staff level, those communities that did get money for a community center were depressed areas.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not depressed.
I don't have a problem with them. I'm upset that we were told a number and we're 50% off the number. That's where I'm struggling that's a huge discrepancy. We're like 50% off. It's not a couple $100,000. We're talking $1.5 million. And to me, that's a large sum of money to be off. That's why I was trying to understand how we got
It's
here.
important to understand
years
that
ago.
the money we set aside in our budget was specifically for the building,
Yeah.
1.4. The bid for the building is 1.9.
Right.
And then the other million, we didn't even budget for what we were doing site work because we hoped that we would get a legislative appropriation that would make up the difference in
Right.
what we were setting aside for the building as opposed to all the site work.
And the other choice is just to simply budget the 1.4 again.
And we
so
did
can
that
do it
last
way,
year.
Or we can use the money we have, whichever y'all want.
Well, Sarah, here's my question. Sarah, if we award this bid, what is the construction time frame?
Oh, hold on a moment. It's in here.
Alex, do you have that?
Yeah, it'd probably be the better part of a year. I would give a
So
couple
we'll be
months
into
for them to
another
start.
fiscal
So this will
year.
roll to next fiscal year. With the 1.4 we have budgeted here, how close would we be to making it to the end of this fiscal year on that 1.4?
I would defer
And then
to
you could
Alex
budget
on
the rest of
that.
it in the next
I would
cycle.
probably say they would be, with the 2.9 million by the end, so the fiscal year ends in
September 30th.
September 30th. I would say count on it being, 80%, so maybe at 2 million. So maybe we'd be $500,000 over the budgeted amount by the end of the fiscal year.
My recommendation, if the council does want to award the bid, is you have money in reserves. To avoid just tapping reserves, if the council wants to do it automatically, which I do think, well, you never set precedent by going to your reserves. That is your exclusive discretion. it is something that you always want to be cautious about how often you go to reserves for the reasons Councilwoman Hafner set forth. I do believe you would be well within your ability, as long as the council's intention is to budget the remainder of the funds in next fiscal year, that if we do get caught where we need to do a budget amendment this year to bring money forward from reserves, rather than bringing $1.5 million out of reserves, you may be bringing 300, 400, 500,000 and knowing exactly what's left. I think that would be a prudent decision if that's what you want to do, rather than moving all the money forward out of reserves. Also, if we get change orders, get delays or otherwise, it allows you to take that into consideration as part of next budget year, rather than, well, we've already spent 2.9, it's gonna be another 800,000 to get it done. Probably beneficial. I will say.
I'm more comfortable with that, your plan of doing a smaller amount than the larger amount and putting some in next year's budget. That sounds a lot better.
You're gonna have to have some in next year's
That's a lot
budget.
better for me.
You're gonna have to, if you award now, you've got 1.4, the bottom line is, Sarah, when we get close to looking at exceeding that 1.4, whenever that month and day comes, let her put it on the agenda for a budget amendment to bring what's
I'm a
forward.
lot better with that.
But then you also at least have progress payments.
Councilwoman Bryan.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with you, Attorney Atkinson. I think this is a good idea for us to go ahead and do it. I see that it's probably going to go into next fiscal year. We may not even have a budget amendment that we even have to fool with, knowing how slow things are in the supply chain. My thought is we should go ahead and do this, because if we go back and we wait until next budget year and we put it out for bid again, it may be $3.5 million at that point. And we have promised the citizens a community center. We need to put our money where our mouth is and buck up and do it. And even if that means making budgetary cuts next year to make up for this difference, I'm for doing this.
So that we can start, use our money, and if we have to move some small amounts before the next budget cycle, we can do that.
All you're required to do,
That's good.
all you're required to do to start is to award, to
Okay.
accept this as the sole bidder and award the bid accordingly.
Okay,
You've got 1.4 million in your budget, it's up to you to figure out how to pay it. But
okay,
you know you've at least got 1.4 towards
Right,
this.
right.
Then if you end up, if a second grant cycle opens up, if another source of community funding opens
Okay,
up,
that's
anything else comes available, you can keep exploring it to get this done, rather than saying, well, we already moved the money. So
That's good.
I'll be
No, that's
comfortable with that
So
approach.
we can just go ahead and make a motion.
Motion to award it.
All you're doing is awarding the bid now,
I'll
you already have
I'll
moved
make
it.
that motion.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to award the bid.
Who was the
Community
second?
Center. Any further
Councilwoman
discussion?
Brandon.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Any public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Fair.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bryan. Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next item I have before you, Planning and Zoning was approached by Live Oak Fiber. This is a national organization that provides fiber service throughout this area. We had several meetings, and ultimately I advised them that they needed to come before the council and discuss with them what they had to offer. They have requested permission to install a small cabinet in the grassy area beside the, really kind of behind the planning and zoning building. If you, you know where planning and zoning is, if you look out beside it toward Highway 20, you'll see a row of aluminum fence bars. And then that open area that we purchased from the American Legion Hall. Well, they have a cabinet site that they would like to put in right there in that spot. It's just a tiny bit difficult to see on the site plan, but when you look at it, it would be kind of to the side of the planning and zoning building, a cabinet site, so they can install fiber in this area. They have a copy of it here, and they're prepared to make a presentation. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm going to basically turn it over to them. They're asking for permission, basically, to require council approval to locate a cabinet on our property, start installing fiber in this area. We all know what problems we have with cellular service. poor Wi-Fi. We don't have a sole provider or franchise agreement with any provider in this area. So I've invited them to come and talk to you about what they're asking. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Mason Merriman. I'm a Live Oak and also a Freeport resident who deals with our horrible internet service. I live off of West Bay Road. I brought this just because I know it's hard to see up there. I don't know if you want to pass that around where everybody can see it a little better. What we do, we've built out already in Shalimar, we've built in Blue Water Bay, we're currently in Crestview, Niceville, Destin, Seagrove, and El Centro Beach building right now. And what we have to do to get the internet coming to you, basically, without getting too nerdy about it, you have a cabinet site. This is one we just built in. It's the same picture here, but a little easier to see on here. This is the one in Seagrove that we're currently building now. It sits on just a tiny little property. It's usually about 20 foot by 16 feet, something like that. And that's how we tie into the main long haul fibers going to like Atlanta and Jacksonville and to get the fiber. We light up the fiber from Unity to provide to the communities. That's what the site looks like there. And if anybody wants to see it afterward, I've got the whole schematics of what a cabinet with the generator looks like and all that good stuff on here so everybody can see it. I can pass it around, let everybody take a look at that as well. So a cabinet can serve, like City of Crestview, for example, much bigger community. We have 5 cabinet sites in Crestview. Blue Water Bay, 1 cabinet site feeds all of Blue Water Bay. It's lit. We've already got like almost 3,000 customers in Blue Water Bay hooked up and live on the fiber internet straight to the house. And of course, we would talk like we would sign a lease agreement for that small sliver of land, work with y'all. If the city wanted a fiber internet connection into the building, we can work on all that and all that type of stuff as well. Anybody have any questions I can answer for you?
Have we got,
So,
Councilman Day?
have we got plans for that property that's not going to interfere with that in the future?
In the master plan for the complex, is eventually going to be stormwater. There'll be stormwater in the center of that property that will carry the sheet flow from the parking lot behind City Hall, where we're doing the new community center and parking area, and we're going to create some stormwater. It's in one of the final phases of the plan. Alex, do you think a cabinet's going to interfere with our ability to put stormwater management over there?
No, I think we can just be a little selective in the actual placement of it, but no, I won't impact.
And that was just a suggestion on our part over what we've done on other sites. If there was a different sliver you wanted to hide us somewhere, all we need is proximity to power, and we can either go propane or natural gas because we have one generator. If a storm comes through, whereas now your internet goes out, this stays up and running no matter what. It's always running. We can have generator backups. But like over in Niceville, we have one next to a retention pond, and then on the north end of Niceville, we have one tucked behind a sports complex, like behind the outfield fences. So that's just a suggestion. If there's a better spot or something, we can always do something different. That's not like set in stone.
Councilwoman Hafter?
thanks, Mayor. What type of speeds are you able to offer to customers?
Right now we have 3 packages. The
Okay.
base one is 500 megs and ours is symmetrical where most providers, if you get 100 meg, you might get 10 on the upload
Sure.
speed. Ours is
Right.
500, 500.
Okay,
That package is $55.
Okay.
Includes all taxes and fees, nothing
Okay.
extra. We have a 2 gig, which is, I believe, 99, and we have a 5 gig, which I think is 139. I think those are
okay,
the 3
no, that's
prices.
fine.
If the council's interested, I think the most appropriate action would be to direct the city manager to negotiate the terms of a lease agreement along with any other, should we need connections to city buildings, things like that, any kind of service provision that will be associated with this, and to allow us to bring you back the actual location after we work with the engineer to make sure we don't interfere with the stormwater.
And this won't help anything with cellular service though, right?
Yeah.
I wish, but it's just internet, right?
Well,
But they
in the
can
long
get to
run, it
cellular
could
service
because
on
we can provide fiber to these cell towers to help
Gotcha.
band. Like here, I know at my house down on West Bay, I can't send a text with a video
I know you
or a
can't.
picture unless it's
No.
late at night because
Yeah.
the bandwidth can't handle it.
Okay,
It's not a direct influence on
but
their
it could be
services,
later.
but
got it.
Yeah.
later on it can.
And it can help with some, like we're doing a test right now in Shalimar at Combs
Sure.
Park where we're doing a public Wi-Fi system.
Oh, nice.
So like anybody that goes to the park has a public Wi-Fi to use and
Good
stuff
deal.
like that. So
Okay.
there's other advantages to it.
Thank you.
Problems we've had with that.
Councilwoman Brown?
I have an attorney question. Is this going to set precedent for every other fiber optic community in the United States to want to come here and say, well, you did it for them, now I need this here, now I need that there?
They can ask.
Since we don't have a franchise area.
They can simply ask, and we can determine, and the only way you're going to be able to approve whatever's brought back to you is if you determine as a council that this is in the public's interest. Well, since we don't have one, I think the bar to overcoming that's pretty low. I think the council could well determine that this increases internet access, broadband access in our area. I can envision a number of reasons why the council would determine this to have a public benefit. But if you have one, and then you have two, and you have three, well, what's the purpose of giving away yet one more piece of city property to the third, fourth, or fifth one? Well, that's to your discretion, and this is use of city property. They don't have to ask our permission to be in our community. They do have to ask our permission to locate on our property. And so that's the distinction, and you never have to give anybody access to your property unless you find the specific request serves a public benefit.
Councilman Ferris?
Well, I'm gonna make the motion to approve,
Yeah.
and they go through our city manager and work with them.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hafner?
Aye.
Councilman Day?
Aye.
Councilman Ferris?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan? Councilman Hughes?
Aye.
Motion carries. They don't flip.
Mayor, council, the final item that I have is under tab 11 of your packet. We recently went out for RFQ for the planning and design documents for the Golden Dog Road wastewater treatment plant. As you know, we're in the end stages of the final improvements to our Earl Godwin Road treatment plant, something that's very necessary. I've shared documents with you recently, the amount of development we have out there that's vested, the amount of new development that's coming in. And it's very apparent to all of us who work with infrastructure in this city that we can't stop with the plant that we have at Earl Godwin. We've got to continue to look toward the future. And we got two proposals in the RFQ. We have one from Dewberry Engineers and one from Baskerville Donovan. And you have information from both engineers in your packet. And we received both of those by the advertising deadline on January 25th. We sat down, we had a meeting with a scribe, and the RFQs were thoroughly reviewed. We checked references, including questioning staff who knew of or had worked with the companies on previous projects. And based on the review of these submittal projects, and staff is recommending that the City Council award the RFQ to Dewberry, who is not only a local firm, but one of the city's chosen contract engineers. Dewberry has more local experience and it appears based on the packages a better understanding of the scope of work needed for this RFQ. We have a long history with Dewberry, and we believe that Dewberry will be attuned to the unique needs of the city and will respond accordingly. So you have the summaries from both packages. Hopefully we've done quite a bit of the legwork that you needed, and it's basically in your hands to determine as you see fit.
motion?
We do.
I will make a motion for Dewberry.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to present the award to Dewberry. Any further discussion?
What was the award amount? I didn't see that in here.
It's to be negotiated. There's an RFQ, which means
Okay.
you're selecting the most qualified, so the award, so the actual effect of the award is to award to them as the top-ranked firm, subject to negotiation with staff. Of course, the fee schedule of these are all going to be consistent with the rule development fee curve and the other standard fee schedules we use. There's not a whole lot of negotiation on the dollar amount that you get into when they set these fee schedules, but that would be something that would be brought back.
Councilwoman Havner, we will be bringing that information back to you for your approval.
I mean, I would have liked to have seen, someone else to have an option at some point. I know that Dewberry's our preferred firm, but I don't think it also hurts to work with other firms to have more, a little bit wider portfolio span, but
Any further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hafner?
Aye.
Councilman Day? Councilman Ferris?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Dick?
Aye.
And the only other thing, just a point of update to remind the council that, as you know, for the past 6 months, I've been working on the update to the Land Development Code. Per your suggestions and recommendations, I recently emailed the council a draft of that document. It's quite lengthy and large. It's a 52-page ordinance. And I sent it to you so you have an opportunity to look at it in advance of the next meeting at the end of this month, which would be the first reading of it. I sent it to you ahead of time because it is so lengthy and I don't want to take up too much time at that meeting. So if you have a chance to look it over, if I need to print you out a paper copy so that you can mark it up, or if you need to contact me, I encourage you to reach out to me if you have questions or concerns about anything that's in that update, so that we can kind of handle that ahead of time and be expeditious when we actually get to public hearing. Thank you. That's all I have today.
Engineering?
Morning again, council. So what you have before you is the bid tabulation for the 3280 water main improvements of phase 1 and phase 2. So phase 1 is the city's portion that they will be paying for, and then phase 2 is the portion that the developer will be paying for the, you're gonna probably get around the nature side development. So the low bidder was R&B Contracting. Now, I will note there was a discrepancy in their Phase 2 bid amount. So the Phase 2 bid amount, what they totaled was $1,368,322.83. But in reviewing their bid and adding up the unit prices, the actual Phase 2 bid amount is $1,485,176.63. It still puts them below the next lowest bid, or cheaper than the next lowest bidder by approximately $214,000 and $214,540.65. I do have an email communication from R&D confirming confirming that discrepancy and what the total correct Phase 2 bid amount should be.
okay.
And then I also have a detailed breakdown of Phase 1 and Phase 2 with the correct numbers, if y'all would like copies of that as well. That said, R&D Contracting is the contractor who's working on 83A West right now, and they are also the ones who did 83A East about 2 years ago. So they're a good contractor. They've done good work for the city. And I would recommend awarding them the contract as the low bidder based on the revised and corrected bid amount, which is $3,043,845.35.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Award the bidding to R&D.
R&D, yes.
Any further discussion? Public comment? Councilman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
No problem.
Councilman Dickey.
I just wanted to kind of give a report, TPOs. We have not had a meeting since the last council meeting, but there will be one this Thursday, so I'll bring that information back. I did attend MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization State Workshop over in Sandestin with the TPO as your representative. I know Marquise Way is our main project right now as far as adding highways to the city, but I would be interested in talking to the staff a little bit more and bringing back some options, maybe of some additional highways in the city of Freeport, if that's okay with the council.
Yeah, that sounds great, Jason.
Work with
Thank
the
you.
staff and bring that back to you at a later date.
Thank you.
Do we need to put that in a motion? I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, let's do that as a motion, so he has that
I'll make
ability to do
that motion that we allow Councilman Dickey to meet with staff and bring back other ideas for other road upgrades in the city.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Further discussion? Public comment? Councilwoman Hafner.
Aye.
Councilman Day. Councilman Ferris.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman Dickey.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Councilwoman Brennan.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to bring a situation to light since we're in the sunshine and the council members can only talk in a meeting. I just wanted to bring a situation up that happened with me and maybe make some recommendations for next year or in the future. Of course, we had our appropriations list that we voted on and approved in September for Liberty Partners and for, to be, I guess, to go over and advocate on our behalf for those projects. And I think that's wonderful. I was out of town on the 25th through the 31st. Of course, my phone is always on, so if anybody needs me, I'm going to put that on the record because that seems to be the problem here. It's my understanding that our city manager met with the city manager for Definiak Springs sometime prior to the 23rd, according to these emails, because that's when it's actually started. And we had a city council meeting that I missed on the 25th. But from what I understand, our two city managers were looking for ways to try to help some of our infrastructure and funding. But they brought it together with themselves and got some information from the city engineer. I guess they talked with the city attorney, and then they went over and met with Liberty Partners. And it's my understanding all of the other council members approved it by phone, but they went over to pitch a $73 million ask to do a joint sewer project between Freeport and Definiak. Now, I didn't know anything about this until after it was over with, and when I called the question or asked about it, apparently everybody else knew but me. I think in the future, for any type of ask for legislative appropriations, we shouldn't do anything willy-nilly last minute, week or two here or there to put together, especially a $73 million ask. I think first and foremost, we really got the cart before the horse because, number one, I would think that the council would want to talk about it in a meeting, and more important than that, that we would have a public workshop. This system belongs to the citizens of Freeport. And I know you get in the middle of the day-to-day operations, you come up with ideas, and you think this is great and wonderful. But before you go pitch these ideas in Tallahassee to legislators, I think you would want to make sure that, you've had the meetings with your city, meeting with City of Definiak. I'm sure they would want to meet. Maybe we should have some public workshops or some joint workshops. I mean, if you were over there and they said, okay, here's a check for $50 million, we've just operated outside of what I would consider in the sunshine, where we're bringing things before citizens and we're asking for this information and asking for these updates and asking what the citizens think and asking what the citizens of Definiak think. I mean, I think there's a lot of moving parts here that I think we got ahead of. And I understand you trying to find these funding sources to help us to get this money to do these things. But I don't want to be sitting here like I was. I've had a lot of sleepless nights, and I've had a lot of really hateful conversations with people that I don't really want to get into today, but I just think that we need to slow the roll and have the meeting and have the discussions during the meetings before we go and do things like this. That's, I know there was nothing underhanded done, and in the email it says that he talked to all of you and y'all approved him to go ask for this, but this is something that we do every year on our legislative appropriations. We bring it before the board, we discuss it, and then we do it. So I don't know, what you feel about it. I'm just wanting to state on the record that I don't believe that it should have went that way, and I think that we should have had some more discussions here on this council, especially for something that's so complex, because there's a lot of emails here that shows the layouts, it shows the maps, it says that there was meetings before January 23rd between the city managers about this idea. It talks about, it references Uriah Matthew going and speaking on our behalf on some things or something, saying that he had talked about it. So apparently everybody knew about it but me. And I guess that's where my beef is. So I'm sorry, that's all I've got to say.
Any public comment?
I'll say just kind of one comment about it, Mayor. As I understand what Councilwoman Brennan is saying, that she didn't receive a phone call about the situation. And I do understand the concern about not following our protocol. I understand we may or may not get any money from the legislator for what we put forward. We may or may not get awarded any money. So I can understand that cities were trying to think outside of the box and look for more ideas, and I appreciate the gumption to go out and be proactive. But we do operate a little different than a publicly traded company or government. It's much different. So I do think in the future, if we have our legislative list, I don't have a problem with a backup list that we approve, that they can go do that too. I agree. I don't think there was any ill will or an intent done. I don't feel that way at all. I think our staff does an amazing job. But I do think that we probably should have had some type of emergency meeting or quick something to talk about it publicly, so that we don't come to the public and say, hey, we just got $73 million for a project that you didn't know anything about. So I understand both sides of the situation, but I appreciate the thinking outside of the box, trying to come up with something else. If it's looking as if we may not get any money, I completely understand that. So hopefully for next year, we should look at doing it a little differently, and maybe we have a one list, and if this all goes wrong, a backup list or something like that we've approved.
Councilman Ferris?
And Mark, I do appreciate you keeping us in the loop.
Yeah.
I do. And I think this was something that may have just fell in place real quick, and I know everybody had good intentions, and you really was trying, and I do appreciate that. Because we've got to keep moving forward. And I know too, I feel that if a plan had come together, or the legislature, whatever, that just like you kept us in the loop, that you would have come back and have told us to where we could have met and then made a decision on it. But I think the representatives that they were also wanting to see Topiniac and Freeport try to work together of something that they were looking at, if I'm correct. And, I appreciate what you've done. I felt that you kept us in the loop, and, we tried, you tried. And that's all we can do.
But I think Ms. Brannon's gonna
And I
say
understand
she wasn't, so how would, I would be upset if I wasn't in the
Yeah, I
loop
was
too. So I
completely left out of
understand
everything,
what she's saying.
all of it. I didn't get the call until 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks after it all transpired. So that's my problem with it.
I'll be happy to address it if the council would like me to, or I'll be happy to take the direction and move forward.
I'd like you to be able to give your comment.
This started with conversations with Dewberry and the city manager. We had one meeting. Clay has been aware of it the entire time. It was nothing more than a very, very, very long shot attempt at being able to obtain funding based on the legislator's budgetary cuts and times and input from Liberty Partners as well. So, in a nutshell, that's it. That's the timing piece of it. I talk weekly and daily, sometimes, with Liberty Partners. This was an attempt to make a long shot and try and get help for both cities. If this council doesn't want me communicating with Liberty Partners and one of y'all want to be selected, or you want to select somebody to, I get a lot of phone calls that you're not aware about that are, what do you think about this? How do you feel about this? What would the position be of this? Can you get us information from Dewberry? This particular addition was going to be just that, an addition to the ask that we already have out there, because we being Liberty Partners did not feel as if anybody was going to get a lot of funding in Northwest Florida. And favorable projects in other areas that were cooperative or joint or whatever you want to call it was simply an approach. So if at any point Clay would have told me, no, you don't need to be doing this, no, don't go, no, that would have been the end of it. But I let Clay know before I do pretty much anything. It's any kind of question. Was that correct, Clay?
That's absolutely correct. As I advised Mr. Martin, I'll say on the record here today, obviously the city manager cannot bind the city. He cannot absolutely change the city's legislative appropriation request. He cannot take any action that would alter the express direction of this council or otherwise bind the city without this council's blessing. Certainly, if he has conversations that lead to the need to make those changes, it's to come back before this council for the council to officially and formally approve those matters. As I understand it here today, at this point in time, there is no requested change. The legislative appropriation that you did put in for has not received funding, is not placed in the state budget at this point in time. It appears the reason for that, as Mr. Martin indicated, was that these type of projects were not being funded on an individualized basis for individual municipalities. I think everybody's well aware, if you've seen your updates from Liberty Partners and the League of Cities, that the legislature is doing quite a bit to possibly restrict municipal utility service where you receive additional fees for providing service outside your jurisdiction. It appears there is some callback coming on those fronts. And so the advice that was given was to consider ways to make this ask more attractive in future years. And so, yes, Mr. Martin advised that he did have those meetings. There is no agreement that can be put in place that would require an interlocal agreement by statute. Can't be on a handshake, can't be on a motion, can't be just because the legislature approves it. You'd have to have an interlocal agreement if you're going to do anything. But that is whether the FUNIAC buys capacity from you, whether you're joint partners, whether it's a cooperative venture. Those would have to be fully sorted out as part of an interlocal agreement. So yes, my advice to Mr. Martin was get whatever information in place you can and bring it back once we know what we can and cannot do. But at this point in time, we cannot bind ourselves to anything. And our ask this year, too late now. There's no amendment to it that's going to get it funded. So if you want to explore it, explore it. And that's what I understand has occurred.
But what if the council didn't want an interlocal agreement with Defuniak Springs?
Well, the council gets the chance to say that when it comes before you.
But you're saying it's not going to come before us because there wasn't.
Well, what I'm saying to you is your current legislative funding request was presented and appears to have been denied.
Right.
That's the end of that.
So that's it. So this would have been a separate.
This would have to be something coming to either other state agencies, or if it's a new legislative appropriation, it would have to come up in the 2025 session.
Got it. Okay.
So the question would be, what are your options?
Right.
And as I understood this was exploratory options. The advice we received back was that one way to make the legislative ask more palatable to our delegation was to look at cooperative ventures. And I believe that's what Dewberry and Ben and his team were present for those meetings. I've looked at
Who said that? That it's better
those.
to join with them? Who said that we need to do it with someone else? Whose idea was it to do it joint, that was a better ask?
Our
Is that what the legislature wanted for?
lobbyist indicated that based on what they were seeing around the state, that
Okay.
it would be better received if we
you would
wish to
join.
resubmit it
Okay,
to look at joint opportunities. Of course,
Okay.
next year, funding sources change. And so that's the advice and feedback we received based on their communications with the legislative delegation
Okay.
and staffers in the House and Senate.
I understand.
Well, I did contact our lobbyist, and I had a conference call with them last Friday, and they said they didn't recommend any of that, that was done, it was done strictly by us. So it was, the ask was pushed by someone else. They said it was not their idea, and they were really taken aback, honestly, because it was not added on the list. So that, they're not here today to defend themselves. or
Well, I'd ask
something
them to
like
be,
that.
I would ask them to be here because I can tell you this.
They said they didn't get involved in any of that. They basically were just trying to do what we asked. And I have the chain of emails that shows when they were first engaged in the whole scenario. So
I don't doubt that,
that's-
Councilwoman Brandon, but I'm representing to this council what was shared with me from that same firm. And if their position is that was not their recommendation, then perhaps they need to have those conversations directly with the council. That is very concerning to
And
me.
that's why I put this on the agenda under my name today, because I didn't know anything about it. It was not presented to me. I think that it's something that's that huge, and I am not against it. But what I'm saying is we have to make sure that we delicately look at this. This is Freeport's system. We own this system. We own that property. And for us to just willy-nilly, some kind of quick thing and do it with, look, if you guys want to go along with that, that's fine, but I'm just calling attention to it that I didn't know, number one, and number two, the public didn't know, and I was not comfortable with it. And we can't talk outside the council meeting, so that's why I'm bringing this up, and that's why I put it under my name today, to let it be known. My phone's always on, you can always call me, I don't care if I'm sick or I am out of the country or out of the state, it doesn't matter. If it's something, especially when it's something that's this huge that involves Freeport. And that's all I've got to say.
And I just want everybody to rest assured, this could not, I start with the word could not, be quick. This is not a process for any kind of this discussion. There would have to be multiple public hearings on this. We may well fall under the joint meeting requirements of state statutes would this require, which of course you can't take action in that kind of setting, which would require at least one public meeting then, and then would have to come back at future public meetings of the council. So you would have been looking at a minimum of 3 public meeting sessions before any agreement could be finalized with another governmental entity. Minimum 3.
Any other comment? Meeting's adjourned.